Hello and welcome developers. My name is Shay and this is another episode of Shay Develops. So if you've been following along in this series, we have been going over how to build a website from scratch using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And this video, we're going to be talking about JavaScript and just some, we're going to talk about it at a, a kind of basic level. So JavaScript, is basically a way to manipulate the DOM and change stuff around in our website whenever the user clicks on stuff or moves their mouse in a certain way or whatever, almost anything that we can really set up the way we want to do based off the interactions of the user or even without interactions from the user. So whenever we say the JavaScript manipulates the DOM, what do we mean by that? So what exactly is the DOM? Let's turn to Google and ask, hey Google, what is the DOM? The DOM stands for the Document Object Model. But that's true, except for I don't see. Okay, the Document Object Model is a programming interface for HTML and XML documentations. It represents the page so that programs can change the document structure, style, and content. The DOM represents the document as nodes and objects. That way programming languages can connect to the page. A web page is a document. Basically, the DOM is the HTML, like the H2, the P's, the body, all that is what makes up the DOM. So how can we manipulate it? Well, earlier on the very first video, we wrote a very quick JavaScript function that says alert, hey my good friend, and then we got rid of it because we commented out our script tag here. So let's uncomment that out. If we rerun that, go back to our test website, click there, and again we got hey my good friend, and that's JavaScript, but we can do a whole lot more. So let's go back to this contact page that we created earlier. So if we click over here on contact, we go here back to the contact page, and we're going to create a form. Doesn't really matter if it's get or post or whatever. Action, we're going to do, it's just going to send itself back to itself, so it doesn't really matter as far as the action, because whenever we're going to do an on click event anyway on our submit button that's going to get this form data and then just tell us what it is. And then you can do a whole lot with this, like validation and email it and all, throw it in a document, give it to PHP if you wanted to, like another programming language that could put it up to a database. There's quite a bit that you can actually do, but in order for us to do that, let's just put a label real quick. We'll do label for name. We'll get their name. What is your name? And then we'll have an input. It'll be text. It'll be ID. ID will equal name, and name will equal name. There we go. So now we're saying, what is your name? So really cool thing about using labels, if you put the for and you specify the ID as name, I'm pretty sure it's the ID. Let me get rid of this just in case that's the case. Yeah, you specify the for and the ID and you click on the name, it automatically goes into the label or the input that the label's associated with. So if I was to get rid of this and now run that, if I click on here now, I can't get in there. So that's one nice thing about labels, just to throw that out there real fast. All right. So now that we have that, we want to use our JavaScript to grab it, but we need to do something before that. We need to have a button that's going to be of type submit, and we're going to do on click. I don't know. we'll just say submit form. That's what we'll call it. There we go. All right, so there we go. Now we got the submit button, so we'll type in our name and it'll submit, and then we can go here to our alert.js. And instead of alert me, we'll call this. Actually, we'll make a whole new JavaScript file. Let's call a new file. This will be called submit form, and we'll create a new function called. Oh, I didn't create this right at all. Let's go ahead and delete. Well, actually, no. You know what? We'll just rename it. Rename submit form.js. There we go. Now we have a JavaScript file. Submit form. You don't need to pass it any parameters. We're going to actually save the button that we're looking for in a variable, or actually a constant, and it'll be get I could get element by ID. I'm going to have to Google that real quick. Let's see here. JavaScript get element by ID. Yeah. Oh, it's document dot. Okay. Get element by ID, and then we want to pass it the ID, which was I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at it. Get element by ID. Oh, we don't have the button as an ID. We'll just do ID equals submit contact. Call something slightly different there. And that's the button. P problem expected. I don't know why it's thinking that's an error right there. We'll see what happens. All right, and then we can go to our contact.html, and then, yeah, so on click we have submit form. So our submit form, let's just let it alert something. Let's alert the button to see what see if that's actually working. And this way we're making, it's basically a sanity check to make sure our script is working. But there's one more thing we have to do. We have to go back to the contact form, and we need to add our script tag. Script src for source, and it's just submit form.js, and that's it right there. Make sure you close your script tag if you don't have auto closing tags, and come back to our document, refresh it just in case. What is your name? Shay is my name. Submit, and I don't know what happened there. Uncaught syntax error, unexpected identifier. Well, that is interesting. Unexpected identifier. I'm sure it might have something to do with this, but I'm doing something wrong. The JavaScript constant. CONST. Is it because I'm capitalizing it? Oh, yeah. Okay. My bad. I thought constant was CO. Okay. So, all right. So now we have our submit contact. This should work now. Let's go back to our document. Type in my name because I'm cool like that. Oh, submit form is not defined. What do you mean submit form is not defined? Submit form is right there. So let's go contact.js, and we got our script submit form.js. So if we go back to our JavaScript, yeah, alert.js, and that was working just fine. So this is why you like to do sanity checks, because sometimes, you know, things just don't work out like you're like, what exactly is going on? I gotta fix this A, that is bugging me. All right. And so on click submit form, and we have our submit form.js, which that doesn't have to be the same, it's just how I happen to name it. And then we have our submit form function, in which we call, it's the same way we do there, right? Function alert me with your all the sugary syntax and all that's working. So let's try again, see what happens. Yeah, submit form is not defined. Add HTML button element on click. Missing initializer in const declaration. Are you saying I need to do it like this? All right. Oh, but now it works? That's okay. I don't really understand why that it was like that, but it works now, so great. We're getting our object, HTML button element, JavaScript acts like a bunch of things are objects and whatnot, which is great, no problem. A lot of coding languages work the same way, particularly Java, one I like to work with myself. All right, so, but it's not my name, so what if I wanted to tell me my name instead? Well, we're getting on the submit button. We're doing the submit form. We don't need to alert that. Instead, we want to get the form itself. So we need to first go to contact, and we need to see here. We need to find the input with the ID of name. So we're going to var name equals document.getElement by ID. That was called name. And then now we should be able to console dot, not necessarily assert, but log. And what that's just going to do is it's going to put it out here in this right hand side of a column. The name of the user is, and this is called concatenation, where I want to print out both some text and a variable, but it doesn't necessarily have to. It could be variable on variable or whatever. But if you want to concatenate things, you got to put a string with a plus and then the variable, and then if you want to add some more, you need to, if you want spaces and whatnot, you just add the empty strings and go add in such a way that it makes sense. Whatever. We're going to continue on. That didn't happen. All right. The name of the user is, and then we're just going to do name. Oh, I forgot how I get the value. So let's go back to JavaScript or go back to Google. Like JavaScript get value from input. Nice. So it's dot value. So document.getElement by ID dot name dot value. Oh, node value. No, not node value. Just value. Because we're not using node at the moment. stop. Why does it do this? Quit it. Thank you. Oh, it's because that's. I don't want to change the text. I just want to get the value. Okay. Oh, so I think that's it. I don't think you need. All right, we just put name. Okay, let's see if this works. And I'm putting my name. The name of the user is Shay with no errors. Thank you. I'll take a mighty big clap. Congratulations. And also give yourself a huge pat on the back, starting to understand JavaScript, hopefully just a little bit. Like I said, we're manipulating the DOM here. We could also do some other stuff. Let's try something like change the background, the background color, right? So on form submit, say we want to change the entire body's background color from white to blue or something. We'll pick a random color. So in order to do that, we need to first get the body. So let's get the body by using var. We'll just call it body. I don't think that's a reserved keyword. Document dot get elements by tag name. And we can use body. There we go. Dot I'm debating on whether or not we want to create a class. I think that's what we should do, is create a class that, and then we'll just give the body tag the class. If I can do that, get elements by tag name body. So here, JavaScript get body tag. Okay. Apparently you use the get elements by tag name. Oh, I am using that. I'm just using it wrong. So we use body, and then we use this. That right there is specifying that we want the first instance of this get elements by tag name, because we're saying get elements here, so it's expecting multiple. Like say we're wanting to get all the divs or all the phone going off. If we wanted to get all the divs or wanted to get whatever it may be, what element, whatever we wanted to get, this would allow us to get all of them and like, hey, well, I want the second one, or I want the third one, or I want the 10th one, or whatever. This will allow us to do that. And the reason it's 0 is because whenever you're working with JavaScript arrays and all this other stuff, it's 0 base counting. So 1 is 0, if that makes sense, and 10 is 9. So from 1 to 10 is actually in JavaScript and most other languages, they're almost all 0 base from 0 to 9. There's a couple exceptions, but mostly they're all 0 to 9. All right, so let's go ahead and continue with this. So we got the get elements by tag. We got our body. Now what we want to do is body dot class list, I think. Yeah, there we go. That class list dot add, and we're going to add the color blue. And that's not adding the color. We have to now come in here and create a class that's called blue. It says background color blue. And we'll save that. And now if we come back over here, refresh, well, it should have refreshed automatically with the live server. Type in our name. Oh, it didn't work. Let's take a look. Let's inspect our document. So, oh, it gave us class blue, which is great, exactly what we wanted, but class blue didn't work. We didn't get our background color of blue. Maybe we just did it too fast. Let's try again. Once we refresh it, put in our name. Yeah, it's not working for some reason. I know exactly why. And if you figured it out, you are a very smart cookie. But we're not doing something. We need to link to our style sheet, and we haven't been doing that. So it's just styles.css. There we go. Now that we have linked to our style sheet, we're going to submit, and bang, we have a blue background. So this is just a very, very short introduction to JavaScript. There is a lot that JavaScript can do. You can get all kinds of information about the screen and the device the user's using and some other stuff. And it's really cool. It's very in-depth. There's a lot to it. So I really suggest you go in there and just start playing around with stuff, figuring things out, and just having fun with it. Really, who cares if it breaks something or whatever? It's just all just a learning process. So with that, this is going to be our last video where we're just basically going over the language as a quick introduction. And our next video, we're going to put it all together, and we're going to build an actual site that has a form that's going to validate our users or validate the input, and it's going to probably save that input in some sort of way. We're not going to save it to a database for sure, but maybe to a file or something like that. I'm feeling like that's going to be a good approach. We're going to have some nice CSS styling stuff, some other stuff like that, and yeah, it shouldn't. Well, it'll probably take us a little while to build it all out. I mean, web development can take some time, and it can be a little tedious at times, but yeah, so that's why you gotta have fun with it, and you gotta keep learning, and that's what web development is all about. So I'm gonna stop this video here. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends, whatever it is you can do. If you enjoy this content, I'm trying to just help people out there, teach people how to build websites, how to be a developer, understand the process. Even if you're just using like WYSIWYG builders, like what you see is what you get kind of stuff, understanding what's going on underneath of that is pretty important. Even if you don't like fully understand it, like you write it every day, but at least okay, if I'm looking at this, I understand that here's my HTML, and I know where to go if I want to change something about something or whatever, that kind of thing. Just general broad understanding. But all right, I'm done. You guys take care. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.